Another candidate, Hillary Clinton, talking about trust in the first major TV interview of her campaign. Getting voters to trust her, though, a big concern. Recent poll finding she's underwater in 3 key swing states. Majority of voters in Florida, Ohio, and Pennsylvania saying they do not trust her. Mrs. Clinton blaming her trust deficit on the GOP.
This has been a theme that has been used against me and my husband for many, many years. People should and do trust me.
Chris Plant is a syndicated radio talk show host. Leslie Marshall, Fox News contributor, syndicated radio talk show host as well. I mean, it's one thing, Chris, to be able to say in an interview that people should trust her, but the polls are not showing that right now. So what does Hillary Clinton need to do?
Well, what she needs to do, I suppose, is learn to tell the truth. But that's going to be a hard one, since we've got decades of history that indicate that she's not about to go that way. You know, the ORC poll finds that 57% of Americans say that she's not honest and trustworthy, and 42% say that she is. And when she was asked about that yesterday in the interview, she just kind of brushed past it and said, "Oh no, people think I'm honest and trustworthy." And she said, "Well, you know, the polls say that that's not true." And she just shrugs it off and says, "No, people do think I'm honest and trustworthy," which is, of course, another reason to think that she's not honest and trustworthy.
Okay. Well, Leslie, did she answer it correctly? I mean, how could she have handled it better, or did she do a good job?
I have always been critical of this one area of Mrs. Clinton, and we saw this in the Diane Sawyer interview, and that is the defensiveness, which comes across, I think, more negatively, both to people that support her, like myself, on the left, and others who may be shopping for a candidate right now, left or right, or people just stuck in the center. Here's the deal. You have to look right now at the polls, and I think the better answer would have been to acknowledge the polls, although I think she was right to align it to the messaging. I mean, when you have a lot of negative messaging, whether it's about emails, the Clinton Foundation, Benghazi, quite frankly, Chris, you and your guys are doing a good job with that. But she doesn't have to show her blueprint for how she's going to change it, but that's something that her campaign and she definitely need to work on for the future.
I want to change it back to immigration, because we were just talking to Governor Perry about this. I think it's going to be a central issue, at least in the first couple of debates. It's interesting because we were able to find that back 10 years ago, or more than that, in 2003, Mrs. Clinton had a different opinion about illegal immigration at the time. She said on a radio show back then, "We've got to do several things, and I am, you know, adamantly against illegal immigrants." So, Chris, she seemed to have completely changed her stance on that now as she's campaigning for president in 2015. Why?
Well, you know, for purposes of political expediency, and the Democrats have what is effectively a race-based coalition that they intend to use to win again, as they did with President Obama twice, and she's trying to co-opt that. I mean, it's awful. It's race pandering. It's dishonest. She believed very strongly one way, 180 degrees off of today's view, not so many years ago, and now she's, you know, Democrats evolve, Republicans flip-flop. And Democrats just evolve into new positions that are the opposite of their old positions, and the New York Times is fine with that. So they get away with it every time.
Let me just get Leslie in here. Leslie?
Sure.
Well, Chris, I think left or right, how about they both sides change their mind? Marco Rubio has changed his mind on immigration. Jeb Bush has changed his mind on immigration. Rand Paul has changed his mind on immigration. But you got a lady on the left doing it, and all bets are off. Come on, this is typical.
They're all cold
this is
on
typical
it,
when you have situations that have taken place in San Francisco and Arizona that result in the loss of human life. In addition, they are all running for president, and I don't think they're just saying what they want us to hear. I think people do change their mind as well as change their tune.
All right, good points from both of you. Leslie and Chris, thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.